Happy Thursday, everybody. It's a Thursday, which means we are rounding out our week of full out chats. We have a great one for you today. Excited to talk to Brandon Prince, all-girl coach, University of Alabama, ace of Alabama. I cannot wait to hear his story. It's going to be a great one. I know that he's excited to tell it also. So before we can go full out, like every coach says, let's just do it one more time. And let's go full out. Are you ready? Full out chats. Do you know what time it is?
U-L-O-O-U-T. We got control, we got the right, we got the vision, you lose the sight. We will never stop. We got the drop, yeah.
What time is it? Full out. We're arriving 5, 6, 7, 8. With the music, we are now full out. Let me bring in Brandon, and we are going to have a great chat.
What's up, Steve? How's it going?
Brandon, thank you so much again for being here today. I appreciate it, man.
You're welcome. Hey, thanks for having me. I've not seen the opening yet, so you did a great job. That was fun.
I appreciate it. No, man, I was talking to Amanda Gaines, who's the head dance coach at University of Minnesota, and she's like, you maybe should have been a dance coach. I'm like, no, absolutely not.
Well, you had me full. I mean, your full out was pretty good. I was getting excited. I was like, wait a minute, where's my part? I want to be in the routine.
Where am I? Mark it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Brandon. I just have started this to kind of just hear the story of people. I know, I mean, a lot of people know you. People know you as a coach from Alabama and from ACE. But again, just people don't know you, kind of your background, where you came from and things like that. So like I ask everybody, start from the beginning, kind of, where did you grow up? Where did you come from? And kind of any other sports that you may have played. And then how did you get in this crazy thing we call cheerleading?
Yeah, well, we're here, and I guess we're going to stay. So, so I started cheering in the 10th grade in high school. I played baseball from Little League all the way up throughout high school. And so we just had a family friend that was the cheer coach, and she was like, well, I didn't know you could tumble, because she randomly found out, and I would tumble at the halftime of like basketball games. So she kind of got me started, learning motions. And then my mom was like, wait, you want to try out for cheer? Well, I think you should get in some classes or take some classes. So she got me in some tumbling classes, and we kind of learned from there. And so in high school, I cheered and played baseball, and, the seasons worked great. And then I went to Shelton State to cheer. I think my senior year in high school, my math teacher, she was looking for somebody to do like the routines for summer camp. And I was like, well, I think I can do it. She was like, yeah, come on. It was just a JV team. So I think I kind of learned picking up our choreographers that would come into our high school. I went to high school in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So, I mean, it's where the University of Alabama is. So it kind of worked out that way. And then after I graduated, I went to Shelton State first. And it was a growing program at that time. And this was before Krista Sanford was there. And after that, I went straight to Alabama and cheered cheering in Alabama. And then I left for 4 years, and then I came back later. So yeah, throwing up some old school picks.
I'm going to assume growing up in that area, I mean, you had to have been a Bama fan from the beginning. I mean, you had to have bled Roll Tide from the beginning.
Yeah. For football, that was the greatest thing, to be there and to be a fan, and to be able to have cheerleading there as a plus. It's awesome. And you got to stay in state. So who doesn't whose parents don't want to have to afford to pay for out of state? So
no, absolutely.
It was a great opportunity.
Again, we're with Brandon Prince, all-girl coach at University of Alabama, and also with Ace Tribe. If you have any questions for Brandon, we usually end our show with a Q&A. So at the bottom, you should see a question mark that looks like a deck of cards. Feel free to input any questions or comments there, and at the end, Brandon will be happy to answer them. So, I mean, kind of talk about the I think something that a lot of people don't realize is the junior college option. I think a lot of people have this idea that I have to go to a 4-year right away. And people don't realize, like, first of all, a great option. People
Uh-huh.
aren't ready for the four-year option, whether that's just academically or financially, but also there's some really good scholarships at the junior college level. So, I mean, kind of talk about, going to Shelton, making the decision to go to Shelton first, and then eventually going to the University of Alabama.
Yeah, well, my journey was Shelton was only 5 minutes from my house.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom was like, if you go to Alabama, then you have to stay in a dorm. And at that time, we didn't have these very, very nice dorms at Alabama. So if you were a freshman coming in, it was the bottom of the litter. So
Mm-hmm.
I stayed at home one year, and while I was at Shelton, I only paid I think maybe $15 or $20 the entire time.
Oh my
And
goodness!
it was
Wow.
just for a parking pass. I think the first year was $5 and the next year it was 10. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was 2 years of absolutely, free school. So,
Mm-hmm.
and we had basketball. We didn't have football. So and we were not competing. So the hours that I put in, it was kind of priceless. And then
Mm-hmm.
I was able to save up money and go to Alabama and stay out on my own. And, I graduated with no college debt. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
blessing, itself. So I have one of my coworkers here at Ace that I always get on him about quitting
Mm-hmm.
Alabama and not continuing to cheer. I'm like, you wasted money.
Yeah.
You could have been not paying back these student loans right now. So
Mm-hmm. I mean,
it's a
that's
great
huge.
option.
Absolutely, it's a huge option, especially. I mean, obviously, Shelton is a obviously a powerhouse now and has been feeding great athletes to, I mean, great programs all around the country. I mean, how have you felt about kind of the evolution of the junior college level, especially at Shelton State? Like you said, this is Krista obviously came in there and made it unbelievable, and now she's obviously your coworker at Bama. We'll talk about that here later about the staff you guys have there and the program that you've built there. I mean, talk about kind of the development of really the junior college level and what you are looking for anybody that's coming from a junior college.
Oh gosh. Just looking for anybody coming into Alabama for skills that and chances and opportunities that they would not have gotten maybe if they were at a larger program.
Mm-hmm.
Kids who are able to actually develop and looking for leadership because they're stepping in possibly to your program, and it's just so much easier when people can step in with leadership and they understand what you want and what you need. So getting that development and the experience
Mm-hmm.
along in a junior college is a great asset, because when you have freshmen coming in, you just never know what you're going to get, and you're taking a chance to develop them to learn a lot of skills. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a big positive.
Mm-hmm. Another aspect, I think that a lot of people do know about you, but some don't. Some people just really know you as Brandon, coach of Alabama, all girl.
Mhm.
But obviously, All Stars has been a huge influence for you at Ace of Alabama. Talk about how did you get involved with All Stars, kind of the influence it's been on you, and then kind of the transition into coaching.
Oh, well, believe it or not, All Stars were not really started when I was in high school. So,
Mm-hmm.
it was a transition definitely for me. While I was at Alabama, I was coaching at a gym in Tuscaloosa, which eventually became an ACE gym.
Okay.
And once I graduated college, moved to Birmingham. I had a pharmaceutical sales job here
Oh.
and did the open team here at ACE.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, in 2009, I graduated in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
2009. That's my little niece. Yeah.
Oh.
And so after graduating, I did the open team, and then I moved 2 years later to Atlanta, and we started a gym, Ace location in Peachtree City, Georgia. So
Okay. So
it's kind of my transition.
is that kind of the 4 year gap you were talking about when you left
Yeah,
the air?
that's
Okay. Okay.
so that was a 4 year gap of doing pharmaceutical sales, opening up a new location, moving back to Birmingham. And the year I moved back was actually the first year of all girl. I didn't judge the tryouts,
Mm-hmm.
but I came in and started in August
Oh my
of that
goodness.
year.
So, I didn't realize that you had quote unquote a real job, and also doing that in Atlanta, starting up a gym there. I mean, well, first of all, talk about a lot of coaches start that way. You have a real job and kind of doing the cheer thing on the side, hoping that maybe one day you can do the cheer thing full time. Talk about kind of those years of doing pharmaceutical sales and then also doing cheer on the side and kind of the trend. How did you realize, or when did you realize man, I think I want to just do this coaching thing full time, or try to make a living doing that?
Well, it's kind of twofold, I guess. You know, you when you're in cheerleading for so long, I did uh, probably almost 10 years cheering, and then you want to be a grown up, and
Mm-hmm.
you want to be an adult and be in the life of working, and you still may coach a little bit on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just after a while, when you're working and it's a 9 to 5 and you're just a number, you
Mm-hmm.
kind of realize, okay, what am I doing? What's my passion? What do I love doing? And just the opportunities kind of aligned for me to stop doing pharmaceutical sales and just really focus on something that I love. And I came back to it and I was like, you know what? I love cheerleading. So
Mm-hmm.
it does not feel like work. And so it's just really kind of eye opening to see that maybe you should do cheer full time. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how I transitioned out of it. And, you know, running a gym, the leadership skills that I've learned from cheering and working, that kind of led me to be able to have the skills to manage both. And, you know, I majored in financial planning, so that helped on the business side. That's a perk that most all-star gyms don't always have that background. So it
Mm-hmm.
was a really good foundation for me to be able to leave and to do something else.
Mm-hmm. Again, we're here with Brandon Prince, all-girl coach, University of Alabama, and Ace All-Stars. And just do want to do a quick shout-out and thank you to my sponsor here for today's show, Cheer Chalk. Cheer Chalk is a great product. Some of my guys have actually used it, and it really does help with grips. It helps if you're stunting, you have some sweaty hands, things like that, or if it's a long session. It is a great product to help with your grips, and also it does not come off in your uniform, which is really nice. So if you would like to get some, it does last for about 40 or 50 times, they say. So it's actually a very good product that lasts for a while. Just go to cheerchalk.us and put in the discount code FULLOUT10. And right now they have $5 off, and you put in that discount code and you get an additional 10% off. So again, just go to cheerchalk.us and put in FULLOUT10 to be able to get an additional 10% off on Cheer Chalk. So as you mentioned, you guys actually had a lot of success with your open team. Kind of talk about right here is a great picture in regards to you guys obviously went to Worlds and were able to get that gold globe that everybody strives for. Kind of talk about that process and that first taste of success at the Worlds level.
That year it was 2011, and that was my last year in Atlanta. And that
Mm-hmm.
division, it was a senior division,
Mm-hmm.
so we did have some open teams also at that time. But we had a team in Atlanta. We got 8th place, the team that I coached, and the
Mm-hmm.
Warriors out of Birmingham,
Mm-hmm.
they got 1st place that year. So
Awesome.
that it was, you know, a great time coming, especially to have 2 teams in top 10
Mm-hmm.
in a division against I think that year Top Gun and Georgia. So it was great experience, and you know, things have definitely gotten tougher along the way, but you know, it was when we had to force the boys to start
Mm-hmm.
stunting again. So, I mean, we're probably going to take into a new wormhole for that whole thing, because now they're requiring guys to do, you know, so many hard tumbling skills plus hard stunting. It was just a toss extension that year, and you know, you maxed out. And this
Yep.
is with a team of, I think, probably 12 to 14 boys on the team. So,
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's a great segue. I did want to pick your brain on that. So, yeah, around that year, they really wanted more, at least an element of co-ed stunning to be able to max out the score sheet, which as a collegiate coach, I loved. I mean, that's great, obviously. You're trying to bring in, but like you
right.
said, you know, it was a huge change. I mean, a lot of these guys were just doing, you know, multi-base stunts or just tumbled, and now asking a lot more. I mean, obviously you guys had success with it. You were able to win that year. But first of all, Ace Warriors is a great program. You guys have been
Thank you so much.
It's such great routines. I've seen you guys at majors multiple times. I mean, it's just a great program, great team. But talk about kind of the evolution of All Stars and kind of your thoughts on, has it helped progress these kids and get them ready for the collegiate level?
Skill wise, yes. Because everybody, you know, everybody's high school is different. You know, some are ground bound. Some may not be close enough to a gym to really train. And so skill wise, when it comes to tumbling, yes, it keeps them at the level that we would like all
Mm-hmm.
would love our athletes to be in the college level. But when it comes to stunting, it's great for all girl. I think that comparison of the things that they can do now in high school and also an all-star, I think it's good training for them. For co-ed, it's challenging to expect, a brand new male to come in and to be able to do all of these hard stunts right away, whether they're in 10th grade. When I was in 10th grade, I learned to toss chair and I thought I was so good, you know. And then the next year I learned like a chair to extension. And,
Uh-huh.
by my senior year doing a toss extension and a hands lib,
Yeah.
like I thought I was great. But, things change and evolve. But, we kind of have to keep it at a basis so that I feel like you should want to introduce as many people to the sport as you can. So let's not make the barrier of entry so difficult, because
Mm-hmm.
when you do, it's just almost impossible to you have to train the kids, and you need the time, and you need,
Mm-hmm.
2 to 3 years to develop the kids to get them where you want.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Especially in the co-ed division, when I mean,
Correct.
a lot of people. When I coached high school co-ed, I coached at a school called Sun Prairie High School. We competed,
Yeah.
yeah, we competed large co-ed, and were able to win UCA when I was there. But I just remember kind of getting the backhanded compliment of, well, there's only like 12 or 13 teams in your division. That must be really nice. But I always say, well, if it's so easy,
You do it.
do it. But then the answer was, well, I just can't get the guys. And I'm like, exactly. Like the
Exactly.
hardest thing is to get the guys. I mean, kind of talk about when things started changing and all sorts evolved, and now there is some unbelievable co-ed stunning and I mean, these guys are just unbelievable. The athletes. I mean, kind of talk about how has there been any additional challenges maybe getting males or developing the males, as you were kind of talking about, to get to that level to be competitive.
Well, I think the hardest thing is battling social media, because,
Mm-hmm.
these kids validate, the athletes validate their likes and their self-worth based off of who they think their friends are,
Mm-hmm.
um, through Instagram and living the dream, and what people post from other gyms or other areas around the country. They just think that something else, the grass is greener on the other side, or
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
also think that, it's let's try something new, or my friends are there. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the hardest struggle that I think once girls may get guys into the sport, but it takes the guys to kind of keep the guys and to push them. And you
Mm-hmm.
know some kids may choose not to do it if they're males, if they don't have all the tumbling and the stunning. They feel like they're inadequate, when before, when co-ed divisions a long time ago in all-star cheerleading, you could have a male on the team to just do stunts and
Mm-hmm.
then throw a basket. And if he had a standing tuck, great.
Yep.
And now, and then you had tumblers, and that was the thing that they could do. So if they needed to train to go to college, maybe they only needed one more. But
Mm-hmm.
now they're so isolated and they don't feel like they're good enough. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, they all want to be on level 5, 6, 7 teams instead of working their way through. So,
Mm-hmm.
there's not as many challenges. Once you get them, you can, make them to where you need to get them, but also, are they going to leave and try to go somewhere else?
Mm-hmm. For those joining us, I'm here with Brandon Prince, University of Alabama, and Ace All-Stars, talking about the transition in All-Stars at the co-ed for large co-ed, and just really co-ed in general, in terms of trying to push more of co-ed stunning. First of all, I just want to say Warriors was so good this year. You
They were
guys,
awesome. They
oh
did
my
so good.
goodness, they looked so good. Oh my, yeah, just had a really good team this year. The big thing, as we stick on the All-Star chat right now, before we get into the collegiate chat again, kind of the whole situation with the COVID, obviously Worlds and Summit and things like that being canceled, and that whole situation. I mean, kind of just talk about what was Ace? How was Ace? How was your guys' response to that? Any kind of updates, if you would like to talk about, with Ace in the gym there?
I mean, we were when everything kind of happened, we were at UCA
Mm-hmm.
International in Orlando,
Mm-hmm.
and we just trying to make the right decision for
Yeah.
our staff, our families. The staff was already there. I think half of us were already in Orlando. So as it kind of transpired, when you have the NBA and other major major
Yeah.
organizations canceling, and we just made the decision to not compete at that competition. And from that point on, it was just trying to follow the guidelines in our county and in our state, and to do what's best for the athletes. But you hate it for the seniors that may not be on the team again, but also at the same breath, you want to move forward and you want to have something to look for. And so ultimately, with Worlds being canceled, it was the right decision, and that I feel like. But there's always those people that you're going to feel it's going to affect somebody the worst.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you just kind of got to move on, and let's look forward to next season. And some of the kids are sad, so we're just going to do what we can to make them have some type of conclusion to their journey, and the others, we're going to move on to the next season.
Again, here with Brandon Prince, Alabama and Ace. So I remember, was it 2012 or 11 when All Girls started at Alabama?
It was the 11-12 season,
That's right.
Our first year as a team.
Yes. Okay. And because I remember, okay, yes, you're correct, because I remember that was the year. So I was like super excited. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna start an all-girl program at Purdue. It's gonna be big news. I can't wait. And then of course Alabama announces it. So obviously your news was so much bigger than mine. So thanks a lot for that. Appreciate it.
Hey, I wasn't there yet, so I won't take any credit for it. But
But no, I mean, overall though, like adding the all-girl element to collegiate cheer has really blown up, I feel, in the last 10 years for sure. I think traditionally you think of college cheerleading and you think co-ed. I think that's just kind of what you think. But obviously the all-girl, not just sideline and the opportunities there, but the all-girl division at UCA has now blown up, and it's very competitive, and it's awesome, exactly. But talk about, first of all, like, okay, so you're in Atlanta, or Georgia area, and you're moving back to Alabama. So how did it all happen? How did you get kind of reeled into starting the all-girl program at Alabama?
So to be honest, to even take it back 4 years, my senior year when I graduated, our spirit coordinator at the time, I kind of talked to her, hey, let's do an all-girl stunt clinic. And she was like, well, let's talk about it. Well, at that time, I had been helping coach and doing choreography for Bob Jones in North Alabama.
Yeah.
So very competitive. We won, I think, 5 in a row in different divisions.
Okay, let me just say this.
Okay.
No, I'm so glad. So I'm kind of a cheer nerd. And I've been to Bob Jones. Oh, like this ahead of their time. I mean, ahead of their time. Awesome. Oh my gosh, they were doing full ups and they were doing stuff before people were doing it. And for a while there, you guys were super varsity, right? Were you guys doing super varsity?
Yeah, we went from medium to super a few years, and then large.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they won. We were in every division except for small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob Jones. I just want to say Bob Jones was unbelievable. A great program. So much fun.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yes.
So just coaching that one, and North Alabama has so many strong teams, and especially at that time, I just saw so much talent in the state of Alabama, and so many of the athletes were coming to the University of Alabama, and they weren't cheering because there was not an opportunity. It wasn't their body size. So I talked to our spirit coordinator. I'm like, let's get a camp. And she was like, we only have 12 kids signed up. Like, what do we do? I'm like, we're going to have it. So it kind of started from that point and going from that year. And I think about the third year that I was gone, they kind of start more rumblings and talking to administration, and David and Debbie, they kind of helped to help get it started, and they put out the word, I think that the year before, and people were like scrounging to have tryouts, and they were so excited, and I was excited for it because it finally came into fruition. So it really took 4 years before it to take off. So the tryouts happened. I moved back that spring or that summer, and they were hiring all new positions because everybody was leaving. So it just worked out. I talked to Jennifer, who's now there, Jennifer Thrasher. She was the spirit coordinator and hired. And I was like, if anything ever comes up in the future, let me know. And it so happened that it did that August. There she is. Jay Thrash. So she was like, well, just come down. I want to introduce you to the kids. So I came down, and I ended up like incorporating like 3 band chants. She was like, just work with them and see. And she was like, well, after that, I knew that we would hire you on. So it was great. It was fun.
So talk about that first year, because I do remember, I remember when Alabama had announced, like, they made it clear right away, like, this team is not competing right away. Like, I
Right, and
remember
I didn't even attend camp with them that year either.
all right, it was supposed to start out as just a game day only situation, just to give more opportunity, which is great. I mean, that's nothing wrong with that. So, I mean, first, let's talk about that first year. I mean, obviously, it's all girls. It's a different dynamic from co-ed, and you're starting from scratch. You are trying to create something. So, kind of, what was your mindset going into creating that first Alabama all-girl team?
Our mindset was, first of all, it was safety. Like, let's not do anything wrong. Let's not go crazy. But just incorporating the new styles. And it was different for me also because I hadn't coached collegiate pyramids. I mean, I absolutely love pyramids. I think I learned that from Brian Groeschel, who was my coach. And I also got the opportunity to coach with him. But just learning new entries and learning how to incorporate. We do a lot of band chants. Like, we have different stunts and signs that we use with the band. So incorporating those, changing them from co-ed to all girl to make sure we still look similar. That was our focus. And we just, every opportunity that you get to go to a nursing home or go out in the community, you get to do that. So it's not something that we're forcing you to do, but after a while, we were trying to see what we could build, and after those first 2 years, we finally got the opportunity and the approval from our administration and the support to start competing.
Again, we're here with Brandon Prince, all-girl coach, University of Alabama. We're talking about that first year and creation of the all-girl program. And great segue. We're about to talk about the decision to compete. Alabama all-girl, but we're about halfway through. So again, in about 10 to 12, not about 15 minutes, Brandon's going to answer any questions you may have. So I see we have a couple already, but there is a question mark at the bottom of the screen. Tap on that question mark. Send us any questions. Send them in. Brandon will be happy to answer any questions about him, about the Alabama program, things like that. I know you guys are in the middle of tryouts, which we can talk about here in a little bit. But also another quick shout out to our sponsor, Cheer Chalk. Again, go to cheerchalk.us and put in the discount code FULLOUT10 to get an additional 10% off on their product. It is great. Like I said, a couple of my guys have used it and they really enjoyed it. So make sure you go to cheerchalk.us and put in the discount code FULLOUT10 to get an additional 10% off with their already $5 off special. So talk about now the transition from thinking, okay, we've started this all-girl program, and now, okay, we have approval to compete. First of all, how many years did it take before you guys were able to compete for that first year?
So let's see, the first year we did not compete. And the second year we actually took a stunt group. So we entered the partner stunt. And so we had, I think 2 entries and 1 qualified. So that was good to kind of to let people see nationally that we do exist and we're there. So it was good advertising also. And they got 5th, I think, out of like 10 or 12, which we were excited about. And then the next year, once we got approved, we competed. It was great. I tricked the girls. We do a lot of different kind of workouts. So me and Jennifer, we put inside the balloons, like, congratulations, you're getting the opportunity to compete at UCA Nationals. So we told them, you got to run. You run to the balloons. You pop the balloons. It's going to give you your workout. And then after you have the workout, that's what you got to do. And they were like, oh, God, they were so pissed off. So they popped the balloon and like 4 of them read it and they reread it, and then they just start screaming, and the other ones are trying to like pop the balloon and they don't know what's going on. And so it was just a great moment and celebration in a creative way to kind of get them excited, and that kind of jump started. And our first year, I've done a lot of UCA routines with choreography and coached, but college was new for me as coaching. So getting second, like, that reaction that those athletes have, it was like we won. It was one of the best feelings that I've had, and especially it being our first year competing. So
I remember that. I remember, first of all, being excited that, okay, Bama all girls competing. And then not only that, I mean, you guys brought it and took second place that year. And that was, but obviously when you're recruiting girls to start this program, like I said, at first you made it very clear, at least for that first year, you were not competing. This is just game day only recruit. Was there difficulties in terms of changing that mindset? Because I mean, some of the girls probably joined thinking, "Oh, I get to cheer football, and I just get to cheer." Obviously,
Right.
as we know as coaches, nationals is a whole different beast. That's a whole different commitment. So, kind of, were there any challenges in at least changing that mindset from game day only to okay, we're adding this piece also?
I'm pretty laid back and calm. So, but I have expectations. So even game day, even cheering at a volleyball match or gymnastics. So I feel like the culture was already set to whatever we do, it's going to be great. It doesn't matter how easy the skill or how difficult it is. You're going to make it look amazing because we're in front of a lot of people. So, we can't look like we don't know what's going on or that we don't have the proper training. So it wasn't really that the mindset was tough or it was challenging. It was just now geared to a new element that we're adding to our program. So it turned out to be pretty positive. And these were talented athletes that were coming to the school to just cheer for the University of Alabama, and competing was a bonus. But Steve, even now when we do end of the year like evaluations, like game day is still voted number one, and competing maybe second or third. So it's just an honor.
That's great. I mean, I've never been. I need to go sometime.
Yes, you need to come down.
I've heard Bryant-Denny Stadium is unbelievable. You cannot forget it. It's I've actually never been to an SEC football game. I've obviously a Big Ten guy, but I would love to come down sometime. But as you know, kids, us college cheer coaches have every weekend available. It's so easy to just
it's hard.
So easy. But so first you're competing. I remember that. I mean, you guys made some noise. Obviously, right away took second place. I mean, was that kind of like an eye opener to the girls, though, at least in terms of like, man, like, okay, like we can do this. Like we can do this now. I mean, after that first year competing and taking second, did you kind of see any types of change or a mindset change or a competitiveness change in that program?
Well, the girls they've always, I don't know, coaching females, if they're all competitive within their same right. I know co-ed is a little bit different, but they want to be better than the other stunt group. So if you have that competitive, it was just who they were as individuals. And, we had people coming from prominent high schools and very good all-star programs. So it was a good combination of game day, and they knew that was the focus, but they already had that background of competing. So I think that's what really, really, really helped.
Again, we're here with Brandon Prince, all-girl coach, University of Alabama. Here in about 15 minutes, we're going to start a Q&A. So if you have any questions for Brandon about him, about the University of Alabama program, or about ACE of Alabama, if you have any questions for Brandon, tap on the question mark below, tap on it, send us any questions, and he'll be happy to answer them here in about 15 minutes. So that first year, you guys took second, and then kind of going into 15, you guys were able to do it. Second year of existence of competing, fourth year overall in existence ever.
Right.
You guys were able to win UCA. Kind of talk about that process and the journey of winning that first national championship for you all.
I mean, the journey was just simple. Like, as a coach, you have to realize you have to learn from your other past experiences. And what are we looking back? What do you do? How do you do things better? How do you train different? Even their morning workouts are at 5:30 a.m. They had a different purpose. It was the seniors that were on that team. They'd been there from the beginning. So their passion, they felt like it was their baby. We like to call them the OGs. So they were just so passionate about everything and great leadership. And our focus was whatever we do, we're going to do it clean. We're going to do it sharp. We're not going to move. So they had that mentality the entire year. And it was just a totally different group, but it was the same people. So that was the great thing. And just going to nationals and being consistent both days was so, it just really gave them a lot of confidence. And after that, hitting the routine that final day, it didn't matter. It didn't matter what else happened. We didn't have a mistake like we did the year before. So that excitement and that joy was all that they needed when they left the floor. So, and winning, that moment I'll never forget. There'll be not another one that'll be as sweet as that first one. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just awesome for the program. And not to mention that year co-ed also won too.
Yeah. Yep.
So it was I mean, it was like a big dream.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great.
To win both 1As in the same, I mean, just to do it overall, but to do it in the same year is
Yeah.
unheard of. I mean, it's extremely difficult to be
Hmm.
consistent in those divisions, consistent year after year after year, especially with how those divisions have grown and gotten just so competitive. I mean, absolutely. I mean, again, being a cheer nerd, I remember that. I was like, man, Bama did the double. Holy cow,
Yeah.
that was awesome. I mean, you guys absolutely have a great program there at Alabama. Again, here with Brandon Prince. Here in about 10 minutes, we're going to do a quick Q&A. So if you have any questions for Brandon about him or the program, just tap the question mark at the bottom and send us those. So you said, obviously competitive program and people come to Bama in regards to compete, but you said consistently the kids still rank game day as their favorite, which I completely understand.
Hmm.
First, I mean, talk about the Bama game day. Maybe talk about that first time you walked out on that field as an athlete. And then also kind of the leadership you guys have there. We've talked about Jennifer. We can talk about her. And also I've had Krista already on the program and the things she's brought. And Brian Grishel is a great guy. I've known Brian for a long time, and he was there for a while. But I mean, just talk about the Alabama game day experience and what it means to you.
It's the one word is it's indescribable. Even from growing up being around it, and also you have a new element of being an athlete. I mean, the first time you walk on the field, Bryant Denny, even if you've been there like 50 million times, if you
Mm-hmm.
can walk on the field, it's like this breath of fresh air and excitement and nerves. And I think I knew that it was really serious. So the first time I ran out the football team, my mom and dad were there, and my
Mm-hmm.
dad later, I was like, "Did y'all enjoy the game?" He was like, "When I saw you run out on the field," he's like, "I teared up," and I was like, "This is a big." I was like, I just
Mm-hmm.
felt like I made it. So it was just great, and seeing the kids as they take pictures and um, make so many different memories every morning. We're there on game day like 3.5 hours before the game. When I walk in, it doesn't feel like, oh, we're doing this again. It
Mm-hmm.
feels like I can't believe I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So the feeling never goes away, and everything that goes along with it on game day, and everything we do around the stadium, outside of the stadium, inside, and for the football team and all of our other sports, it's amazing that this is something that I get to do.
Mm-hmm.
And sharing it with Jennifer and Krista and Brian as great friends, and I've known them for a long time, even before we started working together. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just been amazing.
I agree. I try to describe to people, like I said, I'm a Big Ten guy, cheered at Wisconsin and now at Purdue for coaching, but just there's something of just about college sports,
Hmm.
about just representing your school. There's so much pride in terms of what you
Oh my
represent.
gosh, yes.
Rivalries, obviously. The big thing, obviously, is the Iron Bowl for you guys. Auburn, Alabama. It's pretty diehard.
It's crazy.
For those that don't understand it, talk about the rivalry of Auburn, Alabama.
Well, it goes on all year. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's not just that one day. It's not just leading up the week to it. If I have a shirt that I wear that says state champs. Like, if we lose, I can't wear that shirt all year. Like, it's not fun. So, and being around it all my life, like every team has their ups and downs. It doesn't matter who. If you haven't won one game, when it comes to the Iron Bowl, like, everybody, you have a chance no matter what, and you just don't want to lose, especially if you're in a household where you have Alabama and Auburn fans and you have friends, or like, it's just a rivalry that you love to have, and it's something great in our state,
Mm-hmm.
and something that we all like. If you moved here right now, you'd have friends, or your neighbors would be like, okay, who are you going for, Alabama or Auburn? Like, that you have to declare it when you move to the
Uh,
state. So it's great, and what the kids get to experience and see and be a part of, like, history of one of the greatest rivalries in college sports. It's
mhm.
amazing.
I've heard go to an Iron Bowl. I've heard that. I've heard if you're going to experience that rivalry game, go to that one. It's right up there with like Ohio State, Michigan, and things like that. So I've heard unbelievable things about that rivalry. Again, we're here with Brandon Prince. Here in about 5 minutes, we're going to start a Q&A with Brandon. And so again, tap on the question mark at the bottom. Send us any questions that you have for Brandon. I've already had a couple people ask about all-girl tryouts, so don't send those questions.
Andrew.
We already have those. But if you have any questions for Brandon, feel free to send those to us. So before we get into that, I mean, every college has had to deal with how are we going to do tryouts? What does tryouts look like this year? Obviously, everybody has had to go to some sort of a virtual tryout. I know you guys had just started. I had Krista on last night on our Coach's Corner episode, which was a lot of fun, and she talked about that. But kind of talk about the game plan, your mindset going into tryouts this year, having to do everything through video.
Yeah, we are doing our first round for video. That's our plan for now. They're submitting a specific skills and list of what they have to put on the tape or on the video and submit. And they have a week to complete it, and then we will judge them next week and communicate with everybody who's moving on to the next round. And at that point, talk to our administration and kind of go from there to see what our next steps will be. So it's not 100% decided what we'll do next, but really we're just going to have to do, spend that one-on-one time with a lot of the people that that are candidates for tryouts because the game day and social interaction and talking to alumni, that's such a huge part of what we do at the university. So it's so important, but I hate that we're missing out, but also we want to kind of move on and we want the kids to have something to look forward to for the fall.
In regards to, the videos and the tryouts and things, I was about to ask, like, what are you looking forward to, though, from the video process? I mean, do you think that there's going to be maybe something that surprises you that you may enjoy or that you may think, hey, maybe we could use this again in the future?
I mean, immediately on the video, if I'm watching a sideline or a fight song, like, I'm looking for that person who wants to be an Alabama cheerleader. Like, not the person that I have to get to yell out or the person that has to, to show that they're prideful and that they love what they're doing and that they're fun to watch, because that's 90% of what, our audience sees in our crowd and what our administration expects to see. So that's what I'm looking for first off. If you have that right away, then, the skills we'll look at after that.
So last night, Ben Schreiber from Ohio State asked
I love
Chris,
Ben.
Oh, great guy.
That's
Great
awesome.
guy. And he asked a really funny question, so I'll present it to you.
Okay.
So you guys have a specific time frame that they have to do these skills. So you're not in the same situation like myself and others. We basically said, you use any video you can find to find stunting.
Right.
And we were actually talking about how I had a couple people send in videos, but they gave me the heads up like, hey, I was at an Indiana clinic, but I'm going to show this skill from Indiana. And I'm like, show it. I mean, I understand you're going to be wearing red. Okay. But so Ben's question to Krista, which I'll present to you in an all-girl way, is let's say you get a video and there is a girl with a standing full, triple toe full, unbelievable, but she's wearing an Auburn shirt. Or you get this, girl that's got a standing back tuck wearing an Alabama shirt. Who are you taking?
Oh my God. Now we've had people before, and even when I cheered, we had a guy that transferred from Auburn to Alabama, and so it happens. So it just really depends. It's about what you have. We definitely would do some Zoom calls and have some interviews and talk to them one-on-one to see their purpose and their reasoning and why they chose Alabama. So I don't think we would exclude anybody because of necessarily a particular school that they may have. But I mean, we hope that they wear like bright, fun colors, show us your personality, who you are, and something simple, and not necessarily, just because you have an Alabama doesn't mean that you have what it takes to be the Alabama cheerleader. So, just kind of go from there.
Good PC answer, Brandon. Good PC answer. Ben said the same thing. Ben's like, if he's wearing a Michigan shirt and he can do a full-up QP, but he's telling me he wants to transfer to Ohio State, we'll convert him. I'll take that
Oh,
full-up
right.
QP,
Yeah,
and we'll convert them.
for sure. Why wouldn't you?
Again, we're here with Brandon. We're about to go into our Q&A session. So again, tap the question mark at the bottom for any last-second questions you want to send in to Brandon.
Yeah, let's have some good questions, guys. Send them in.
I saw a couple, so I'm excited to present that to you. So obviously everything is fluid right now with the COVID situation. I think you put it best. I agree. Like, the best we can, let's just try to move on. Let's try to make the best of the situation that we have. So game plan going into next season. I mean, anything that you care to share in terms of game plan? You guys, obviously, in terms of nationals, you are the defending Division 1A all-girl national champions. Congratulations. And that routine, my friend, excuse my language, was badass. It was so good.
Thank you.
So good. Those
amazing.
double ups were crispy. Oh my goodness. Wow. You're welcome. That was an awesome routine. Anybody who has not seen it, find it. Alabama 2020 UCA all-girl. Holy cow, that was such a great routine. Talk about, obviously you're defending national champion, and you've been in this position before. As they say, repeating is usually harder than winning that first one. And so kind of talk about, like, is there any different types of mindsets or things you learned from before in regards to trying to prepare a team to repeat as national champions?
Oh, gosh. I just really like to try to stay within the wheelhouse of what the athletes are showing you. Sometimes they're very talented individually, but once you put it all together, it's what can they do and what can they prove to you that they can be consistent with. So that's the main thing, I don't try to have skills necessarily that I think, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to try. We play around with things and skills to see what we can do and what we're capable of. The mentality part, sometimes it's already there, or sometimes you have to build it and see how far you can push them and then pull back when needed. After we've been first, we've had 2 first place finishes, 1 sixth place, and the rest were second. So we have the right recipe. You just have to continue to mold that and to mold the team and find out what motivates them. And I think we did a great job of that this year. So not always going to do the same thing because it doesn't always work, and you got to be willing to try new things. But I'm excited to move forward and see what this year holds and brings.
Oh, yeah.
That sound effect, Brandon, means it is Q&A time. And
Okay.
one quick shout out again. Q&A brought to you by CheerChalk. CheerChalk.us. Put in discount code FULLOUT10 to get an additional 10% off your order. So let's look up these questions real quick. Okay, this is from Vicky. Can I 5th year?
Always.
See, there you go, Vicky. Brandon would love to have you for a 5th year if your body can handle it, as they say in our world.
Yes, if she can handle it. She definitely will be able to come back. Her story and her journey is amazing. So, of course, always welcome.
There you go, Vicky. I was actually going to, do returners have to send in a video or not? Or is it just income? Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Wow. Alabama not messing around. I like it. All right. So kind of the same question, but I'll bring up both. This is from Bell. What skills do you need to make the Alabama all-girl team? And then in addition to that, I have a question from Liz. Same basic. What skills do you typically require for the all-girl program? So let's just say it's a normal year. Let's say it's not the situation we're in right now. It's a normal year, clinics, regular in-person tryouts. Kind of talk about the process of trying out for the University of Alabama.
Just coming to clinics really help us to kind of get to know the athletes, good, bad, or indifferent. So those are great things. And then when it comes to the skills, everybody on the team has a running full. And then I think everybody except for on all girl has standing, some back handspring, something to a full. So it's, it is what it is. We don't want to go the opposite direction, but depending on what we need each year, that depends on your tumbling skills. And then we great game day, and then also motions, enthusiasm and, who you are, where you come from. That always helps. We know your training and your background. So,
Hmm.
you know,
Talk about, I mean, are you guys an invite program where you have to
no.
be invited? No, you don't. Okay, so anybody can try to
Hmm.
Alabama. Okay, and typically when are you guys' tryouts?
They are this weekend. So we
Hmm.
usually do them the first or second weekend in May,
Hmm.
usually the weekend after Summit.
Okay.
If we can, if our dates line up, because we have graduation the first weekend of May
Hmm.
at Alabama. So sometimes it's a little hard to work out.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's been really good and easy during that time for us.
Quick question for me. I just want to pick your brain. We actually talked about this in Coach's Corner a couple weeks ago. Obviously, at the All-Star and high school level, they've loosened up the rules in terms of stunting. Now, obviously, you can do a lot of stunts flipping to the top.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on that? Do you think it's helped out in terms of stunting or kids coming in with stunting more collegiately, or
It
not? I
helps
mean,
out with the experience, and I talked to another college coach that coaches all girl about this. I think at UCA Nationals,
hmm.
it helps with the experience, and they're not scared to try some of the skills
Hmm.
because they've been exposed to them. So I love the exposure. Technique is the hardest thing because you kind of have to still reteach them, but at
Hmm.
least they've been exposed to it, and that is a benefit, I think,
Hmm.
from the
Uh,
rules.
got one more question here. Good question from Jamal.
Bring it, Jamal.
Jamal's great. Mindset on when things should be nationals ready for college before you start adjusting skills. So, um, you know, you as a coach, what is nationals ready? And I mean, as I always say, I mean, I'll just bring this up. I always say if I water anything down, that was their decision, not mine. Because obviously
Yeah, agreed.
if you can hit it, then I ain't changing it. But if you can't hit it, I have to change it. Kind of
Right.
what's your mindset going in the middle of national season about adjustments or maybe watering things down? Or what do you consider as quote unquote nationals ready?
Um, I like to prepare a lot of the skills separately and not together, to give them chance to kind of focus on the technique. And then after that, we kind of set goals before Thanksgiving around the 1st of December, make sure that we're ready and prepared to go full out. And when it comes to adjusting skills, I really think you just rep it out.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, some days you are not focused on going full out. And if they can prove to you going full out that it's close and then they rep it out just certain sections and they're consistent, that proves that they can do it. Just mentally you got to keep going running those full outs so that they can get to the point to where they can handle it all at the same time. So I usually don't adjust unless it's 2 weeks out. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of my stopping point.
Mm-hmm.
Or injuries, you have to do what you have to do. So
Yeah. Let me ask you this: when is your typical time frame in terms of when you finally feel like? Well, obviously, every team's different. Some are ready more than others, but typically, when do you think is the first time? Usually, when you're like, "All right, I think we can at least do a modified full out. It's time to see if this is realistic or not."
if you ask the kids, they never know. I
Yeah.
don't have a goal. I
Hmm.
just go, okay, you know what? I'm over it. We're going full out. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, wait, there's no, I just rip the Band-Aid off. Because I just feel like as the coach, you're watching them and when it's time.
Hmm.
Of course, there's sometimes when you just gotta go full out, whether you take out or remove skills during the full outs. But I like to kind of feel it. I do have a good time frame that I know. But we do a modified routine probably the 1st of November,
Hmm.
and then December we're doing what the skills that we try to do. I save tumbling when I can, especially if they have the skill, and they're consistent. But the ones who need to work on it, they may start throwing some tumbling skills a little bit earlier.
Hmm. So Brandon, we have about 4 or 5 minutes here
Okay,
before. So Instagram live at 1 hour just stops. It just cuts you off. So we have about 4 minutes
perfect.
here. The question I like to ask every coach, because it's just I love talking to coaches. I think coaches just philosophies and things are so awesome. And I'm loving these comments from some of your
I know.
girls. These are so.
I was
Hey, Merry
thinking.
Christmas! We're going full out. That's great. I love it.
Yeah,
That's exactly how it is.
it's probably
Um,
exactly how I say it too.
um, what is one piece of advice or one piece of coaching advice that you have learned or received that really stuck with you and has really kind of maybe molded you into the coach you are today?
Um, Gosh, I guess being relentless. I like to live by that word. A great friend kind of explained that word to me and just giving me advice on how to. You can't give up. You can't stop. You have to keep pushing what you know is right and what you think is best for the program. And every year is different. All the athletes are different. You can't let people slide by. You have to be consistent with your rules and your standards, and just being relentless in every single category, from training to grades to appearances, like everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep being relentless and go and go and go and go. And you can't let up, because you may have said this for 5 years, but guess what? These kids, this is their first time here in the program, so they need to hear it 5 more
Mm-hmm.
times. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
relentless is probably the best advice that I could have to give.
Brandon Prince, University of Alabama. I knew this would be fun. I
Oh, it's
loved
been awesome.
loved your story. Thank you again for joining today. I will definitely be reaching out to you in regards to hopefully joining us on the Coach's Corner episode, because I would love
Sure.
to have you on that. I've already been asked about, would you ever have a quote unquote like competition Coach's Corner where I can bring in like you and
Oh.
you all girl,
Oh,
some of the buddy
yeah.
coaches, all girl, and kind of just talk about the division and kind of
I
talk.
like it.
I like that too. I think that's a great idea, and I would
I
love to
think
get
that's
you on here.
good. Yeah,
The,
and Miranda and
yes, yep.
gosh,
Oh yeah, I mean that'd be unbelievable to get like maybe the consistent,
it'll be great.
top 5-6 coaches from 1A all girl, and just chit chat a little bit, see what
Yeah.
happens.
What's great is that like the kids, oh my God, before some of them started doing Team USA,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, "Why do you talk to Tony? Why do you know?" I'm like, "What?" Like, he's like, "I know Tony. We're good. Like
Yeah.
it's not a big issue." And Miranda, I think when we won in 15,
Mm-hmm.
she came to like maybe a practice or two to
Mm-hmm.
kind of watch before she started coaching at Oklahoma Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's been awesome getting to know everybody, and San Diego State and
Yep.
everybody in the division. They've been awesome.
No, it blows my kids away. Saying is like I'm really good friends with the Indiana coaches, like Julie and
Yeah,
Tony and Megan and all them. Really good friends. It blows their mind that we get along so
I
well.
know.
And I'm like, they're good people. Like we can hate them, 2 or 3 times a year, but that's about it. I mean,
All right, that's
that's
it.
totally fine with me. Yeah, absolutely. So again, Brandon, I appreciate your time today, man.
Thank you for having me. It's
Oh,
been
you're
awesome.
welcome. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I know we'll talk
We'll
again
do.
soon.
Yeah, same to you.
Thanks,
Take care,
Brandon.
Steve.
You too. Brandon Prince, University of Alabama, Ace Tribe. Great dude, just a great guy. Oh my gosh, I had so much fun talking with him today. He's obviously a great coach, does it for the right reasons. A lot of his athletes are on, former athletes or current athletes are on here just speaking his praises. He really is. He's just a great guy, and really appreciate him taking the time. So again, one more time, thank you to our sponsor today, Cheer Chalk. Again, if you are looking to get better grips, to avoid slippage, and also it's an antibacterial formula, so it also will sanitize your hands a little bit. Go to cheerchalk.us, put in FULLOUT10 as a discount code, and you can get an additional 10% off of the $5 they have off going on right now. Also, going into next week, who are our guests next week? Again, I have another great week lined up of Full Out Chats. Next Tuesday, on Tuesday at 1 o'clock, Lori Harris, the executive director of USA Cheer, will be joining me on next Tuesday here on Full Out Chats. Super excited to talk to Lori and her journey and with the whole USA Cheer experience and what has gone on with USA Cheer and things like that. So again, on next Tuesday at 1 o'clock, I have Lori Harris joining me. And then next week, Thursday, 1 week from today, we're keeping it going with Nicole Nichols, head cheer coach at the University of West Georgia. The Dogs have been a competitive program for many, many years. All girl and co-ed have been very successful. Excited to hear Nicole's story and how she got into the whole cheerleading thing and how she got into coaching at the University of West Georgia. So again, Lori Harris and Nicole Nichols are my guests next week here on Full Out Chats. Again, thank you everybody for joining. This has been so much fun. Stay healthy, stay safe, and have a great rest of your week.